Welcome back to Settle Pool at 50, and today we're joined by Margaret Roberts and Keith Maltby to hear a little bit more about the background to the pool's formation and how it took shape to create the wonderful facility that we've now got here in Settle. And I want to start straight away, Margaret, with a wonderful story you were just telling me before we went on air about really quite a well-known figure from the past in the nearby community, Russell Harty, and how he came along to save the day. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
We went for 2 weeks doing different activities to make money, not just for the Settle Pool, but for other things, the doctor's surgery, all sorts of things really the money went to. And we did something every night, either sports, five-a-side football, entertainment in the Victoria Hall.
You were a business person and you were part of the Young Wives.
I was a florist in Settle for 30-some years, and I was a member of the Young Wives, and we were very, very active, doing football, cricket, and making money, doing jumble sales and whatever we could find to make money for the pool. Then we did a old-time music hall in the Victoria Hall, and our Peter Thackeray, who was a hard worker for the community, he was a traveller for farmers, and it was late getting back. He couldn't get back from somewhere up north, so Russell Harty came into my shop, which he did regular, and said, "Whatever's the matter, Margaret?" You looked down, and I said, "We've been let down, really, unfortunately." And he said, "Why, what for? What's it all about?" And so I told him. He said, "Right, what time does it start?"
Because Peter was going to be the compere.
Yes. So he said, "I'll be there for 6:30. And it was wonderful, because it was more children that entertained.
And that was an extraordinary, you just talked about a 2-week fundraising carnival.
Yes.
Really.
And then it went to 1 week. We found it was a little bit too much. We carried on with the five-a-side football and the sports. And then the carnival was big, really big. We used to have a fancy dress, and we used to meet by the old, do you know where the old rugby club is?
Yeah.
The wagons were on Station Road, which every church took in a part. The villages did. And we had a carnival queen. And we used to have the queen and 2 big attendants and 6 little ones. And they were chosen, with the senior ones, were chosen to disco that we ran. We ran discos regular to make money for the following year. And the little ones were drawn out of a hat at the schools, and they came all from the ancient parish of Settle.
And
Giddleswich.
While all this was going on, Keith wasn't fundraising, he was playing a more active role in your life, Keith, before you got involved directly with the pool, because I think you've got an interesting backstory before you came to take over running the newly opened Settle Pool.
Well, I left Leeds when I was 15. I came out here farming, and then I played rugby for the local side, and I then played for 4 years, played for them, and I signed semi-professional rugby league at Blackpool Borough. And then my eldest son was born, and the money wasn't great then in them days. And I came back and I worked at the paper mill for 5 shillings and a penny 3 farthings an hour. And the only reason I came back, because I got overtime, I could make more money. And then I was there quite a while, and I started with friends of mine. We used to go to Kingswick School swimming with the FE classes there were. Betty Sedgwick used to take us, and we used to do self-survival, life-saving exams. And then we built this pool, then that's when I got involved really with the pool. And I was there 7 years, I think it was 7 years when I went.
Were you aware then? Margaret's told us a little bit of the fundraising, the early days, the build-up. Were you aware of all that activity?
Oh, yes, I used to help out there with Landcliffe Carnival. That used to be a week. Used to have five-a-side football for the primary schools in the area. I had it every night on the green with the five-a-side football, the finals on the Saturday. And that used to help raise money to the pool as well.
All fundraising and all the events that you were talking about, the Carnival Queen and the discos and all of that, all going through. And one thing I want both of you mentioned, I'll come back to you on this, Margaret. Keith has just told us about the paper mill. One thing that is really quite unique about Settle and the genesis of this wonderful facility, the pool, is the way in which you set the pace with recycling and paper. Tell me about that.
It would form from the Carnival Committee, I would think. And the paper mill offered to loan us this big-sided containers. And a man from Gargrave called him, he was somebody Ralph, and he used to come and drive voluntary, and we used to set off and collect on a Sunday. We used to go morning and part of the afternoon collecting all around the villages.
And that was from not only businesses, but local residents.
Yes.
Yeah.
People were recycling well before recycling was a thing.
Yeah.
All the shops in Settle used to be collected. And every day, wasn't it? Every day they went very voluntary.
There was Chris Ellis. He was a trustee of the pool.
Yeah.
And his wife.
Well, I used to help with collecting when I was but we never used to open the pool till lunchtime. But the schools had it in the morning, so I used to come down and give them a couple of hours on the morning collecting the paper.
It was big. Yeah.
You're running a florist business in Settle. There's this self-evident need for a pool, and the local business community got together. What about other support? Was there any support from politicians, or was this purely the community?
Not politicians.
No, it's just
none.
Locals.
No.
Locals.
I mean, the parade on the Saturday was big. We used to leave where the rugby club used to be, and it used to go right through Settle to the bridge, turn there at the bridge, and it was still going on to the playing field where Booths is now.
Good grief.
And there was a group of caravanners that used to come to Rathmell and camp at Rathmell, and they joined us. Wonderful. And they'd been in Preston, and there'd be, 30 of them dressed up, Tutankhamun. That's what they did.
Oh, right.
And they'd been in London with it.
Oh, I see, a travelling show. Yeah.
Competing in London, and with them coming to Rathmell, they asked if they could go in the parade, and it was absolutely brilliant, wasn't they? Absolutely.
It was a really good day. It was Carnival Day in Settle.
It was lovely.
Really good.
Yeah. And
everybody
those
involved.
young wives used to dress up as well, and some of the men used to dress up. It was a wonderful community.
It's
very different to what it is now.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, you've touched there on in more recent years as the paper collection stopped, and we've got a different dynamic, I suppose, in the community now, because we've got the Settle Pool Charity area pool charity shop, which of course has given way to an additional charity facility, and then there's a collection point. It's all got very well organised. What's your view on all of that?
Well, when I was at the pool, there was recommended then that they did that, and I had my doubts about it, but I think it was a pool in Scotland that did the same thing. So it had a charity shop, and I thought there were enough charity shops in Settle at the time. And it's turned out it's a big success now. We're all doing it. Yeah, very big success.
You saw the pool take shape. Can you remember that, Margaret, from the early days when it was built? Were you a swimmer?
I do swim, but I've never been in Settle Pool.
Have you not?
Worked all these years and never been in.
Well, I think after this,
Yeah.
we'll have a word with somebody not too far away from this podcast and try and fix this. But it's extraordinary, isn't it? Because here we've got a resilient community that somehow has got together, found the funding, identified the resources, and got the thing not only identified but then built. And as you mentioned, the school children were using it.
Oh, yeah.
How did that work, Keith?
We never used to open till lunchtime to public. Every morning, Monday to Friday, was schools. And then, like in latter years, the primary schools kept, I think 14 schools used to come. And the high school, the middle school. But then I think we lost 5 primary schools shut. And from then...
Falling roles in rural communities, yeah.
Then we had Sub-Aqua Club, the swimming club. That was fantastic, swimming club. I don't know how many hundreds of kids used to start at 6 o'clock on a Monday till 9 o'clock at night on a Monday, and same on a Thursday. And that was half-hour sessions, and they were just full.
And let me understand a little bit more then about your role, because this was, I'm guessing, after your distinguished rugby career, and you came as manager of the pool. So you were managing all these logistics of the kids coming in and different classes and sub-aqua, whatever, and then the general public coming in. A big responsibility.
I enjoyed it. It was the best job I've ever had.
Really? Better than the pro sportsman?
Yeah.
Really?
The amount of people I met there from all over the world coming to the pool and seeing kids learn to swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's precious, isn't it?
It was precious.
And you were teaching as well?
Yes.
Wow.
And the eldest was 65. And she just did one length and said, that's all I want to do, Keith. She never came in again.
And then wasn't Margaret?
No.
No.
It was a local lady, you know.
It's lovely to hear those memories. But tell us about your time at the pool. You've been working in the background, you've been doing all this fundraising, getting involved in all the events, dealing with the crises and all of that. What did it feel like to see the thing finally take shape?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Can you remember the opening?
Yes, I can, yeah.
Tell me about it.
We would all go.
Yeah.
I'm sure we would.
Big day.
Yeah, big day, yeah.
But then, and we've sort of touched on this, there's been some dark days, haven't there? Because we lost the recycling, then we saw the funding pressure and the weather and the storms and the damage, which led to the pool closing. And what did you think might happen then when it closed a few years ago?
It was the worst thing that ever happened for Saddle.
Well, we used to have to go to Skipton, you see, didn't we?
Yeah.
We used to have to go to Skipton Pool. Don't think the children from schools went to Skipton, did they?
No. Not
They just lost that facility.
The other ones went to Gig School, I think.
Oh, yeah.
They might have gone to Gilswick School.
We used to go to Gilswick Grammar School pool in an evening. A few of us from Young Wives.
Well, that's where we did all our
used to swim up
exams. All our friends.
Yeah. No.
When you saw that storm damage in more recent years, Margaret, what did you think when the pool was closed? Did you think it might not open again?
I did, yeah.
You were worried for its future?
Yeah, I was, yeah. I thought all the work we'd done, my husband worked his socks off, didn't he? He really did. He really organised that carnival. It was brilliant.
And people need to remember this because this facility, excellence that we have here, it's more than just a pool, as it says on the sign, is because of the work of people like your husband.
Yeah, he put a lot of hours in.
You built those foundations.
Yeah.
And others have come along, other generations have come along, and against all odds, they've probably had a little bit of that grit that you guys have shown to overcome the roof damage and everything we've seen recently. And what do you think of it now?
I think it's great. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good for Settle. Really good.
The worst thing that ever happened, if that should, it's the best thing that ever happened in Saddle.
Yeah.
You know, the caravanners come down. Oh, they used to do. I don't know if they'll do. There's some lovely people who just come there. Sharon Davis swam. She'd surely be a teenager, and I think she was swimming in the British Championships at Blackpool, and I think they were in caravan at Stainforth, and the father came down and said, you know, could she swim? I said, well, I'm going for my dinner for an hour. You can have the pool to yourself.
Really?
And so he hired it for an hour, and she'd be about 13 or 14 in them days.
A future Olympian.
Yeah.
And there's others. There's a new generation of future Olympians who are knocking on the door there, aren't they? Locally. How proud do you feel?
Yeah. I always feel that when I take things for the swimming pool, because I don't take anything to H concern. I always take it to the swimming pool, you know.
And I think it was a Pendle Pony Club. They did competitions. The British Championship, there was swimming, show jumping, shooting and running they did. And they got through to the final for a few years apparently, and the only thing that let them down was swimming. So the chap, there was a vet from Barnoldswick, and they called one day and said, he told me the tale that they'd never won it, the British Championship. Would I coach the kids? Well, teenagers they were. And I said, well, do what I can do. I said, you know, come. Told them when to come, and they came for about a month before the championship. They come back and they won it. So I did.
Wow. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's that pride, isn't it?
It is. I got more satisfaction out of that job than any.
If you look back over that span of time and the changes that have taken place, do you feel that you've had the support of central government and other authorities, or has this all really been about the community?
The community, definitely.
Yeah.
Every village took part.
Yeah, every village.
Every village.
Yeah.
The ancient parish of Giddleswick, Langcliffe, Stainforth and Settle.
So others listening to this extraordinary story and the achievement that you guys and others have made in the work that you've done, the lesson is what? How do you go about overcoming that shortfall that was clearly missing in this community? How do you what is the key to doing something similar in your own community? That notion of voluntary help.
As I said, I had I think there were about 4 or 5 I had. You just come and do it voluntary. When I was busy, all I had to do was get on the telephone and say, look, I'm struggling. They were there.
It is an extraordinary achievement. You've got this facility here, which is really world class. It's a fantastic facility for a pretty small community like Settle and area. And to have played the part that you've played and meet you and hear the role that you've played with a little help from Russell Harty and Sharon Davis and others.
Yeah.
And what we're learning is the true story is hard yards that you guys put in.
That's true.
When I had an idea, I'd heard of them, covers for swimming pools. Well, we were struggling with money. And I put it together in a committee. We'd got some black plastic that we had for the site, covering the silos up, farmers.
Right.
And on a night, we used to put that over the pool, and that saved, there was no end of money. And then one morning I went
in heating and energy costs.
Yeah, but you could switch your heating off, because there was no sealed pool. So he switched the heating off and switched it back on in the morning. And I came in one morning and this was sagging. I thought, hello. And the pool had dropped about that much. I thought, it's a leak somewhere. God, how am I going to find it? Anyhow, it must have been Monday. I knew the Sub-Aqua Club came on a Monday, and I came at night and I just said, can I just borrow a mask and your bottles? Why? I said, well, I have a leak somewhere and I don't know where it is. I've no idea. That's the only way we'll find it is to go down and look. After about half an hour, I found it. The deep end where the water sucked out, they'd put metal cylinder in, and the chlorine must have rotted it away.
Oh,
and it was only about as big as my finger, and I put my hand in down, and it pulled me out. I thought, I found it. And so we had to shut the pool again then for a week while it was all done.
Oh, dear. Well, some wonderful stories. Just great to hear everything that you've shared with us today. Fantastic history. I've used the word pride a couple of times. I think you really, guys, need to be proud of what you've done and the legacy you've left for this community and the learning for other communities to learn what you've done.
But there's not only us that did it.
No, I was just
There was
going
a
to
lot of
say
volunteers.
that
Many other people.
There was
Yeah, there
loads
were-
of volunteers.
talking to other
volunteers.
people.
Everybody
You know,
joined in.
yeah.
Everybody helped.
Absolutely.
I think there was 10 of us on our carnival committee. And obviously not many are left. I think there's only about 2 or 3 of us that's left.
Well, let me just whisper it quietly. Nobody will hear. It's quality, not quantity today. So thank you so much, both of you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.